Good morning and welcome to Let's Coach 2023. My name is Lani Kim and I'm one of the coaches here on campus. So thank you for being here, and I wanted to introduce today's topic, which is your morning routine. This is something that I'm highly passionate about, partially because cultivating a successful morning routine has been a journey for me, and it still continues to be. There are seasons of life, and that routine changes, which any type of change can sometimes be challenging, especially if you live with other people and it affects other people, or you have to take other people into consideration, or you have to coordinate with other people. So it's definitely not something that you create and stays the same. Rather, it's going to morph. But how do you create that successful routine? How do you value that morning routine? Because really, that's where it all starts. There has to be some type of value that you get from your morning routine. That is what's going to allow your brain to keep on going and to discipline itself, to stay disciplined. And if you're having to wake up early, waking up early. So how do you get there, right? One of the things is deciding at currently where you are in your life. What is the thing that is most difficult for you that would be best served by taking care of it in the morning, right? And I'm not even saying that it has to be done in the morning, but that you know at least that taking care of it in the morning would relieve some type of stress, that it would take something off your plate later in the day. All right, so once our mornings get started and we have taken care of things, we've gotten ready and we're ready to actually, quote unquote, start the day, right? That's when the busyness enters in. That's when all the unexpected things happen. Our wonderful task list, right, that we had planned goes awry. So that morning routine is really about setting your intentions and setting your intentions based on your priorities. And those priorities typically are long-term priorities. So we are looking at a cascade of choices. And so when I say your morning routine, it's not so much a minute detail, but a habitual, something that's a habit that you wish you would take care of the morning that would relieve you in the rest of your day, right? So for instance, for me, I have a set of things I like to do in the morning. And one of them is having my quiet time. I've tried. I've tried to have my quiet time in the evening. But that caused me, or the results of that was staying up late because I wanted the house to be quiet. And as my kids got older, they stayed up later, which meant that to have the house quiet, I needed to stay up later. So that started to actually cut in to my routine because I was waking up later. And so one by one, my morning habits started to unravel because I would wake up maybe 15 minutes later, and then that would take away maybe one or two morning routine items. And then I'd be rushing around, which would push other morning routine items or actions just completely off my list. And then I felt like I was trying to catch up the rest of the day. And so I wasn't then able to take care of kind of my daytime task list because I'm trying to make up for it in the morning. And then I would just think, oh my goodness, I can't wait to start this day over. But then I would take the things I didn't do that day and then I would push them to the next day. And so it was just this cyclical experience that I constantly felt behind. So I want to ask you, is this you? Are you constantly feeling behind? Are you constantly feeling like you have those one or two things that you weren't able to get that done that day, but knowing that you're adding it to your task list tomorrow, and in the back of your head, knowing that all those things from today or from the next day, including what you're supposed to do today, added onto it, are not going to get done, right? And you're unconsciously looking for, or remember, maybe even consciously, right? Flash forwarding or, yeah, fast forwarding and kind of seeing your week, right? Maybe it's Monday, right? That it gets stripped up. And then all of a sudden, Monday goes awry and oh goodness, it's going to be a week of feeling behind. I can't even wait for Saturday. So if this is you, I would say a time audit, not even just a full-time audit, but that will come eventually. But what is the one thing that almost daily, right, 3 times a week or more, is affecting your performance in the daytime, right? So what you're supposed to be doing in the daytime. But what is that one thing that always shows up on your task list that's at the bottom because it's not part of your daytime routine, but it's important and you need to take care of it, right? So for me, one of the things that, and I still struggle with this, to be disciplined about is our emails. I really struggle with prioritizing emails. There's no proper way to do it, but in a way that serves me. So it is a struggle because very often when I set aside that time for emails, I don't feel like answering them because it's a new routine. And my brain is saying, oh, but we could be doing this, right? But it takes that initial investment of time. And initially it's going to seem like, why am I doing this now? I could be doing it later, right? That's the comment, the narrative that your brain's going to give you, your primitive brain, right? Your fast acting, very loud voice, always raising its hand voice, brain is going to be saying that, oh, but we could be doing this later. Well, for the most part, most things we could be doing later, right? But if you look at your life, you probably have some habits that you think have to be done in the morning or in the afternoon or the evening. But if you really think about it, that's just because it's habitual, right? It doesn't actually have to be done at that time in the grand scheme of things, right? But for you, it has to be done at that time because that is the way that your lifestyle, your mind, your disposition works best to get it done on a daily basis. So now it's creating another one of these habits. So my encouragement to you is start simple, just with one habit. What is the one thing in the middle of the day or in the evening Actually, that's probably my most challenging aspect of the day is the evening, not even the daytime. That you tell yourself you're going to do it in the evening, but usually something happens. If you live with any of like a partner or you have a family, you know that usually you think you're gonna be able to get stuff done in the evening, but it's spent talking with your family, interacting with them, taking care of them, or whatever it might be. And then it's your bedtime, right? It's time for your bedtime routine. You have to make that hard choice of, gosh, I'm kind of tired. I'd rather just go to bed and then put it off till tomorrow. Or you're staying up late to get that accomplished and probably not doing it to the best of your ability, or not even ability, to the best of your satisfaction, because you're probably tired, right? And that's not the best time for you to be taking care of that. So it's really examining, what is that one spot in your life that keeps getting pushed around, right? It's important, right? And maybe it's actually even in your perfect life a priority, but you're not making it a priority, right? And so this is where so often we have to, it seems simple and it seems like not a big deal, but it is. What is that thing that you keep telling yourself and other people probably, I'm going to get around to that. Yes, that's on my list, but that's what you've been saying for days, weeks, months, years, right? And to you, the creation of a habit is just like, ah, that's being silly. That's taking it too seriously, right? We don't have to take it that seriously. It's not a big deal to create that habit. But if you're thinking that it's not a big deal to create that habit, that's how you're also treating that either task, issue, whatever it is, that experience. Because if you can push it off so lightly, it's going to keep being pushed off. And again, I'm not saying in your grand scheme of things, this is not something you want to prioritize, but you're not prioritizing it right now. So becomes the decision to make it a priority. It's just a decision. There is actually no right answer as to whether this is important and a priority or not. That narrative has been created by you. But if you are telling yourself that it is a priority, if you are telling yourself that it is important to you, there's something also in there that's telling you that you can push it off till tomorrow. So there's something conflicting, right? So that's something to examine. Where are you telling yourself it's important and a priority, and where are you telling yourself it's not important and not a priority, right? So is it a priority because of what other people have told you, right? So maybe it's something having to do with work, career, obligations that you have to other people, and either culturally or from their personal words, you are telling yourself it's important and it's a priority. But you personally, if you look deep down inside, don't feel it's a priority. Then that's something to examine. Do you want to commit to make it a priority, or is it, no, I've just been told by everyone else it's a priority, but it truly isn't to me. Now, obviously, if you have a obligation like a job and it's part of your job, then you need to go on, or not need to, but to make it a priority, you're going to have to do a lot of work around the thoughts you have towards that. So that might be where you need to start. But making it a priority and making it important is simply a decision. There's no right or wrong answer. But with decisions, to see them through, we have to commit to them. We have to commit to them even though we have two usually differing thoughts. There's your primitive brain that's telling you, I don't know about this new routine. You don't actually know that it's going to work. There's no guarantee. But if we keep, and that's a waste of energy, right? We have to think and create a new plan. But if it doesn't work, then we have to create another plan. Or your brain might say, it might be not and it also might tell you, or it might also tell you, you're doing well now. Yes, it's a little bit bothersome, but we're conserving energy. We know what we're going to get at the end of the day if we do it how we're doing it right now. This is good. And so your primitive brain's not wanting to let go of that, right? So that's your primitive, loud talking, fast talking brain, which doesn't have your long-term needs in mind. It has your very short-term needs in mind. Now, if you go into your prefrontal cortex, your creative brain, your problem-solving brain, right? That's where you need to dig deep into, because that part of your brain, or that brain, is going to give you really the thoughts about this priority, this thought about something that's important to you, that's going to help you form your good habits. And that's going to be related to some type of feeling. So maybe it's a sense of accomplishment that you want to feel. Maybe it's a sense of satisfaction that you want to feel. Maybe it's a sense of giving to someone that you want to feel. Maybe it's a sense of, maybe it's something you do well, right? You want to feel a sense, feel good about yourself, a sense of confidence, right? So what is it that this habit ultimately you want to feel from it, right? What emotion? And then now the thought in between that, what thought is going to get you to feel that emotion, right? And right now it might be a sense of just commitment to something. So one, you need to make that decision. Is this something truly that's a priority and important? Those are actually two different things. A priority is it urgent? And important is on a scale, how heavy does that weigh into the impact that it has? Okay, so, and if you want to know how to actually break this down, there's many charts that help you with this. There's something called Eisenhower's matrix, and it actually looks at how important something is and what kind of priority it has in your life. There's a lot of free tools online, so look that up if that's kind of where you need to start on deciding really how important, how urgent this is to you. But if you already know that, right, now is deciding Is this something that you want to make important and urgent? And the word make is really important to understand. You actually have to make it. It doesn't just happen. Most things in life aren't going to just happen, right? The result is created by these decisions, very unconscious decisions for the most part that we make through our lives. So a decision, now you have to commit to it and now start to fill in the gaps, right? This is what you want to make a habit because it's affecting your life, even though even though your brain is telling you, we'll get it done tomorrow. It's not that big a deal, right? And then you have to fill in the steps of what are some conflicting thoughts that you might be having about that. And you have to address those. And then also, what are some thoughts that would be helpful to help you make that a habit, commit to that habit? All right, I know it seems like a very small process, right? How could we spend all this time talking about this process? But basically, this is the potential energy, that rock at the top of a really big mountain. And right now it's just sitting there. You've got to make that decision to push it down, to give it that little bit of momentum, right? And then it flows. But pushing that rock initially takes a lot of effort, right? To even get that little bit of momentum. So this right now is that hard part of just pushing on that rock. And once your brain has actually looked at this, your mind is focused on it, right? And it stops rejecting it, right? Oh yeah, I probably should. Nope, I'm not going to think about it, right? It's not important right now. I kind of think of it like a pinball machine, right? Hitting the side little flippers. It's going bing, 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 right? Deflecting it, right? But just pause for a moment. Let it actually come to you. Focus on it for a little bit. And once you just get over that little hump, put that little bit of energy into it, you get that little bit of momentum on that rock, that's when the changes start to happen. Okay. Thank you so much for being here with me today for Let's Coach 2023. I am Lani Kim. I'm one of the coaches here on campus, and I really hope that you also check out all the other amazing coaches on campus and the many, many resources that we have. All right, take care. I'll see you next week.